Hi guys, it's Andy from Man City Fan TV. Well, welcome to this latest video, and this is all about the Community Shield on Sunday. 3 o'clock kickoff at Wembley versus Liverpool. And what we've done is invite Chris back onto the channel. So Chris, how are you, mate?
All right, Mandy. Thanks, mate. All good.
Brilliant. Well, I'm going to ask you some questions. We're going to have a quick discussion. It's not going to be a really long video, but we're just going to hit some salient points about Sunday. In particular, we're going to look at what the result means for Sunday. We'll look at the players that are, potentially now back, and are they going to play? We'll look at who you think the lineup should be, bearing in mind, is any of those players going to really start? We don't know. Look at score prediction, then finally, who do you think is going to shine on Sunday? So the first question, which has been discussed on social media and on radio and everything, I heard it this morning, was saying, does the result really matter come Sunday for the Community Shield? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I remember last year, Pep, he came up saying that if the Community Shield didn't matter, there was a point in playing it. So I think for Pep, it's I think it is a trophy. For me, yeah, it is important as a marker to the start of the season, but I don't count the Community Shield, Charity Shield, whatever you want to call it, as a trophy. I don't think we did the quadruple last year, if you know what I mean.
So all those formidable posters and everything else is a little bit cheap.
Yeah, for me, I'm not saying it's irrelevant, but it's not a major trophy. It's probably a bit more than the Asia, Japan trophies that we've just won. But you know what I mean?
Yeah. Does it not though put down a marker for the season? Do you think as a start?
I think because it's Liverpool, I think it has got some relevance to it. I think if we can beat them, I think it would be a real good start to the season.
Yeah, I mean, I do, because it's obviously it's the curtain raiser for the season, and it's sort of, for me, it does put down a marker. Would I be bothered if we lost? No, not really. But for fans, certainly like me and others who are going down all the way down to Wembley again, it's another trip, another expense, and I'm taking my lads and we're staying over at the Novotel. But you're 400 quid out of pocket, and it's like, it's not cheap to go down there. Even if you're just going down on a coach, a supporters bus, and coming back the same day, it's still all right. The tickets are cheap, but it's still we want the team to win, and I think it was summed up in a video I did a while ago when we were talking about Khaldoon, and he turned around and said, the Barcelona model when Yaya Toure arrived was from Pep Guardiola. Every single game we play, whether it's a friendly, whether it's a Community Shield, we want to win. We want that winning mentality. So I think it's important that we go into it saying we want to win. Now, we know City have had a decent run out in pre-season. Liverpool, not so much. Yeah, I think, what was it? They lost 4 out of 5, or they didn't win. No, they won 1 out of the 5, or whatever it was that they doing. So I think hopefully where we can hit the ground running, and it looks like some of the players are back, firing already with the likes of De Bruyne in pre-season and that. So the thing is who is back? Well, it looks like the latest news now is everybody is back, because Mendy on Instagram posted a video this morning about Riyad Mahrez in training, so in the gym. So it looks like everybody is now back.
I think that's the strange thing about this Community Shield, is that you've had players at the African nations and at the South American Copa, that's the one. So who is ready to play? So a lot of the big players for us, and Aguero and Fernandinho, especially those two, I think, and for Liverpool with Salah, and Mane, are they going to play? Or are they going to sit on the bench? Or are they going to have any involvement at all? It's completely unknown, because I would have thought that lineup that we played against Yokohama would be pretty much what we're going to play on Sunday. Liverpool, I think, didn't Salah and Mane get a run out in their last game?
Yeah, I think Firmino, got a run out with Salah, I think it was. Might be wrong, but I'm sure I saw Firmino was played, and I think Salah played a bit part in the game as well. So, I mean, Klopp's come out already and basically said that he's got some of his top players back now, but he doesn't believe he's going to play them. And then I think 24 hours later, he changed his mind and said, I'm going to try and put out the strongest team I possibly can. So, I mean, I think it's just all, he's playing games with who starts and who doesn't. It wouldn't surprise me in the slightest if he puts out his strongest possible team, and that would include Salah, Firmino, and possibly Mane. I don't know. I don't follow the Liverpool side of it, but I don't know whether Mane is backing in training or whatever. But it's going to be interesting. So from our side, we know now that I think most of them came back over the last weekend, beginning of this week. So they've been in training. We've seen them training. Would any of those players, do you think, might start? Because I reckon a few of them might be on the bench, some might not be included whatsoever. So do you think any of them potentially could start?
Well, the rumour yesterday was Laporte was out. If Laporte's not playing, then who plays alongside Stones? Garcia's been away at the under-19s. We've had Otamendi away at the Copper. Howard Bellis. Is he going to trust him to play at Wembley yet? So possibility, I would have thought, if Laporte is out, maybe Fernandinho gets a call up there at centre back. But I don't see any other changes really. If Laporte's fit, I think it'll be that same team that started against Yokohama.
Okay, so what if I threw this one at you? You're thinking, remember, Fernandinho's just come back. He's not really had any game time. We do know Rodri's played most of the games and nearly all of the games in the pre-season. And we know a certain person who is still potentially going to be sold to Italy. And that is, what about playing the likes of Danilo at centre-back with John Stones?
I think Danilo at centre-back, I think that's his weakest out of position.
Or Walker at centre-back and Danilo right-back.
Yeah. That might be the way forward. I've got no issue with Danilo. I really, really want him to stay. I much prefer to keep him than buy Cancelo. So, yeah, I think that is a possibility. It'd be interesting if Sane gets a start. I think if he does, I think he's staying.
It wouldn't surprise me in the slightest if he starts. I'll be honest with you. He's posted, obviously, there's all the rumours that we've done on the channel over the last 24 hours and 48 hours about his back and forth with Bayern and things like that. And it was great to see City coming out and basically stating that they put 150 million euros to Bayern and said, if you want him, that's how much you're going to have to pay. And if you're not going to pay it, he's staying. End of story. So I think
sorry, Andy, I think that's a realistic price as well. I think we all thought he was worth over 100 million. If players like Maguire and Pepe are going for these astronomical fees when they've not really proved anything, and Sane has proved it, I believe he's our most exciting player. Maybe not the best player we've got, but he's the one who gets your bum off the seats. Yeah. I think he's worth that kind of money. He's got years and years ahead of him, and if Bayern want him, they can stump up the money.
Well, especially if you look at now Joao Felix, he went for 123 million euro. So around about 112, 113 million pounds. Well, if a young kid who's had one season has not really won anything at 19 years of age is going for that type of money, then surely Sane, a multiple winner of the Premier League, been in the Premier League Team of the Year, been in the, Young Player of the Year and things like that, he's got to be worth the same or more. So I think it's a good stance by City because I think what they're doing is pricing buying out of it by just saying that. So I think I've said it. I think he'll stay. Whether he'll sign another contract is a completely different story. So it depends on how he takes this stance from Man City last night. And if that stance is true, that's only media speculation. But we'll see. So, okay, on to your lineup then. I know you said so. Let's go through it. Who do you think is going to be in goal? Do you think Ederson's coming back, or will it be Bravo?
I would like Ederson back, but it will be Bravo, I think. Walker at right back, Stones and Laporte, Zinchenko. That'll be the defence. If Laporte's out, real big call is that maybe then we do switch Walker into centre back and Danilo on right back. I like that. Holding with De Bruyne, Silva, Sane, and Sterling. And who's on the left?
We're playing Bernardo.
Bernardo, of course.
Are we going to play Sterling in that sort of 9 role like he's been playing in pre-season?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's the whole idea behind that. Because I think if we were to lose Aguero and Jesus in the season, I think that's what would happen anyway. I think Sterling would be the man. He scored plenty of goals the last couple of years. He knows where the Union bag is.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, I think that would be my team, Andy. I think it is pretty much the team who played Yokohama. I would like to see Ederson back, and I really want to hope that Laporte's not as bad as has been rumoured.
So you just broke up when you mentioned the midfield. So you say Rodri holding?
Yeah. De Bruyne with David Silva, Bernardo, Sane and Sterling.
Okay. That sounds, and I must admit, you know what it's like when here trying to predict things, and you think, yeah, it's going to be pretty much the same team as Yokohama. You know what Pep's like. Suddenly you go, huh? What's going on here? So I would suggest I'm with you on the team, exactly as you just said. I think it will be, or I'm guessing it will be the same team as Yokohama. But don't be surprised if he throws some spanner in the work. You know what he's like.
Absolutely.
And challenging some players.
I remember when we played Spurs in the league after they'd knocked us out of the Champions League, and hearing that team and thinking, God, this guy, you just can't predict what he's going to do. So, maybe good scoring goal.
We didn't expect Foden in that Tottenham game at home, to start. I mean, but suddenly it's like, wow, we've all wanted him to start, but that is not the game. It's such an critical part of the season. You'd think he would start him, and then what does he do? Scores the only goal of the game and wins us the 3 points. So you just can't predict a Pep lineup. But it'd be interesting about Laporte and seeing, and how like I said, we've not seen anything at this moment in time when the recording is being done, which is sort of like Friday afternoon. We've not seen anything concrete on Laporte, and I guess the waiting to have tests today and seeing what happens. But I think if there's anything slightly dubious about his knock or injury, I don't think he'll play him. I don't think he'll risk him. I think he'll wait. He'll wait for the first game of the season, and it'll be interesting if that's the case. Who comes in? Whether Fernandinho immediately comes straight back in the team and plays that centre back role as a way of sort of Pep trialing it immediately. It'd be a perfect opportunity, or whether he sort of like gives Danilo a chance at right back and maybe switches Walker in, and John Stones will play on the left of Walker. I mean, at least he'll have a bit of pace, bit of height, and things like that. So it's going to be an interesting lineup. Like I said, we don't know what Liverpool are going to play. I still think they'll try and, especially after the pretty average pre-season they've had. I think they'll try and want to put a marker down and try and get as many Liverpool players back as possible. So moving on then. We've gone through our teams. I think we both agreed pretty much on the same one. I agree with you. I think Bravo will probably play instead of Ederson, but keepers don't tend to need much rest anyway. It's not like he does tons of stuff, but it's just whether he's game ready up here after being away for so long. So on to the score prediction. What are you expecting on Sunday?
Oh, mate. I've lost so much money over the years on City results, so I think I'll just go for a 1-1.
What? So we're going to go to penalties?
Is there penalties in the Community Shield?
I think I don't know. I can't remember. I'll be honest with you. I
can't
remember.
They used to share it, didn't they?
Did they share it? I don't know.
They used to. They probably don't anymore.
Who knows? I can't remember. I'll be honest with you, whether it's penalties or I don't really care. I just want the game to be decent. If going all the way to Wembley, I just want it to be a decent game. What I don't want is a boring 0-0 sort of nobody's really interested type of game, and it's like, God, we've come all this way, for this, really, but that's, I guess, like pre-season friendlies. You just you never know. So you're going for 1-1. I'm gonna go 3-1. I'm gonna go. City have done well pre-season. Some players in particular, like Kevin De Bruyne, just looks really sharp and back to where he was prior to his injuries. He's looking really good. Bernardo Silva's I think he needs to get up to speed. He's not been as sharp as he has been last season, but I'm sure that'll come with game time. Raheem's looking really sharp. Like you said, it'll be interesting to see whether Leroy gets a starting place. If he does, what perfect venue to actually step up and have a good game, because he's done so in the pre-season. It's not looked like he could be that bothered, really, if I'm being honest. But so yeah, I'm going to go for a 3-1. I'm going to hopefully go for I don't know, Raz, and if Sane starts, a goal for Sane, and then maybe Kevin De Bruyne sort of 35-yard bullet goes flying into the top corner, something like that. So if that's your starting lineup, who's going to shine on Sunday?
Well, like you just said, Kevin De Bruyne just looks in great shape. That pass that he played through for Sterling at Yokohama. Tell me another player in the world who could see that. It's outside the speed. It's just brilliant, absolutely brilliant. So Kevin, for me, is going to be the main man in that game. Last year it was Bernardo. That I think that's when he really came onto the scene, you know, and carried that through for the rest of the season. So always have high hopes for Bernardo. I'm with you on Raz. I think he's absolutely on fire. Maturing as a person as well, you know, not just as a footballer, a real sort of figurehead for the club now, as well as, you know, as well as all the racism stuff that he's dealing with. He deals with it so well. And apart from that, I'm hoping that Stones has a good game. I think he needs it. I think if we're not going to get another centre back in, he's going to be number one choice alongside Laporte. So I would like to hopefully think game. And fair play to Bravo. You know, he hasn't had a bad pre-season himself, so it'd be nice to see him have a good game in front of a lot of City fans.
Yeah, well, I mean, like I said, I've always stuck up for him. I've always thought he's a good keeper. I've said it on so many occasions. You know, everyone was like, "Oh, he's a hologram. He's a one shot, one goal." And I keep saying half of the goals he couldn't have saved. I mean, they were like point blank 3-yard headers. How was he supposed? It just coincided with the fact that it was one shot, one header, and it was a goal. So I always stuck up for him, and I think he's a great cup keeper. And you've seen him in pre-season. He made 2 or 3 absolutely top-class saves and kept us in the game. So hopefully he'll play. Who knows? You know, it could be completely different, and wouldn't surprise me if we see Phil Foden starting. It wouldn't surprise me in the slightest, but you never know with Pep.
I think he started last year, didn't he? Didn't he start last year's Community Shield? I think he did.
Did he?
I think he did.
I can't remember. He might have done. Too many games have gone by since then. Yeah. Too many trips to Wembley have gone by since then. It's like... So, finally, just quickly while I've got you on, because I don't get you on the channel that often, just quickly thoughts on the coming season. How do you feel City are going to do from the Premier League, Cup competitions, Champions League?
I think we might be a centre-back. Like, that's I know that you have a different opinion on that. I'm with Rob. I don't think we're going to get Maguire, mind. I think that's pretty much done and dusted. He's either going to United or staying at Leicester. We're not going to pay that kind of wages for him. I'm a little bit worried about that. But we've had a few seasons now of having big players out. So it'd be nice to think we'd have a season where we have a good, strong squad for the whole year. I think league-wise, I think Liverpool are our biggest opposition. I think that's obvious. But I don't think they'll have such a strong season myself. They haven't really done anything in the market. They've kind of stood still. Whereas we have bought Rodri. And I don't think you can afford to stand still. VAR is going to have a big influence on things. I'm dubious about VAR. I think that the Tottenham game in the Champions League is why I think I'm dubious about it. Yeah. You know, how the referee never got to see the angle of the handball when it was on the telly. I mean, we were both at that game, Andy. I mean, I thought it was a goal at the time, but then again, I thought that Raz's was as well, and that was a really unlucky VAR decision. It could have easily stood. Yeah. I think we'll win the league, and that's a pretty brave thing for me to say because I don't usually. But I do think we are the best team.
That'll be, I mean, back to back to back, treble. I mean, that as much as last season, we won the first time ever, the team to win the domestic treble, which is an incredible achievement. I think what stands out, people always talk about consistency, and I believe the league is the priority because that proves the most consistent team over 38 games. But when you talk about big teams and the best teams and things like that, how many teams have actually won in the recent era, in our lifetime? How many teams have won back to back to back Premier Leagues? That shows you a great side. It's all right winning a double, back to back, which is a great achievement. But you win back to back to back Premier Leagues. That's total domination of the Premier League. That shows you a great team. And I don't buy but other teams are not. It's not as good as the year in '90s when there was there was only two teams vying for then, and that was Arsenal and United. And then there was United and Chelsea. So there was never how it is now, where there are a lot of strong teams. We've been vying with Liverpool for last season, and I think teams will get stronger this season. But I really don't think. I was chatting to Rob yesterday at the Etihad, and we were saying, what do you think the point total is going to be this season? So I'm going to ask you just finally the question: if City win it, which I believe they will, you've said they will, Rob says they will, I think Kiam says, and most people think City are going to win the league again, which will be amazing. What sort of points do you think City will get this season?
I think we might not quite achieve what we have in the last two seasons, but I think we might creep over, which is a magnificent season anyway.
Over the 90, did you say?
Over the 90 points, yeah, I reckon 92. I think that's what my guess would be. And just going back to what you said there about the back to back to back. There's two teams in my lifetime I think have done it. It was Man United and Liverpool, and they unfortunately were great teams at the time.
Teams that people remember. That, I mean, the classic United team and that classic team, with Dalglish and all of those players winning it back to back to back. So you're talking about two very, very exceptional, even though they're probably 20 years apart, they are two exceptional teams that will always be remembered as brilliant teams. So,
I think you can name those teams as well, can't you? You can pretty much name the 11 for starting most of those games from those teams. And I think our 11 or maybe 12, 13 players, they can become those players. I think they are already, mind, but I think that it'd be great for us to sort of say, well, hang on a second, we are one of the best teams that's ever graced this league.
Yeah.
And I think we will, and I think Liverpool will fall off a bit. They got a lot of points last year through some dodgy decisions. I'm sure they will again.
Well, I think it was, and that's the point, isn't it? I mean, looking back on it, it was 15 points they got on what VAR would basically have said, no, that's not a goal, etc., etc. I know we had a couple of occasions, but nowhere near did we have game-changing moments. All right, there was the Swansea game, but that was a cup competition. But in the league, I thought we got done, pretty harsh last year on a number of occasions. And the season before, obviously, with Liverpool in the Champions League, we got done pretty harshly on that as well. And then obviously we had the Spurs game, the 4-3 game in the quarterfinals, where we got done again because VAR was available but just wasn't used properly. And so it's going to be interesting. I think we'll win it by maybe 5, 6, 7 points. And I agree with you. I don't think we're going to hit 97, 98, 99, 100 points this season. I think it'll be just over the 90 mark or around that mark. Because I think there's plenty of teams that are progressing this season, have bought very well. I think Spurs have bought well, bringing in Ndombele and others. So Chelsea, I think, will do well under Lampard. What United are going to do, we don't know. But Arsenal just signed Pepe. And then you've got your Leicesters and the Wolves, and so I think they've improved as well. So I think it's going to be, a tougher season this season, but I still expect us to win it. So finally, any cup competitions, and what about the Champions League? Champions League, yes or no?
What, to win it? Will we win it? I don't think we will win it, Andy. I think we're good enough to win it. I think we are the best team in Europe, but I just think from history has proved that dodgy decisions will go against us, whether VAR is involved or not. Referees will send off players or make, interesting decisions on edge of boxes and stuff like that. I'm not convinced that we will even be allowed to make the final, win it, and I think that's down to politics. A lot of it, I think, City fans as well booing the anthem isn't a good thing for UEFA. I don't think they want us there at their showpiece event doing that. So, I mean, I'd love to win it, just as I've said before, just to stick two fingers up at them, But I remember the Champions League way before we ever got anywhere near being involved in it, and it was boring. It was the same teams playing pretty negative football. At least, when we go out, we might be very cavalier at times, but we must be quite fun to watch for a neutral.
I'd rather us go that way, and I think that was potentially the problem with the Champions League last year when we played Spurs away. Is Pep went, a little bit defensive and I think you should just go for it, just absolutely go. I mean, walked away from that 4-3 game against Spurs when we got knocked out. I just thought it was one of the greatest games I've ever been at live. I thought it was an absolutely amazing game of football. Very. Well,
I don't know about you, Andy. I came out of there thinking, well, we've won, but we've gone out.
Yeah.
And I've just watched an amazing game with a great atmosphere, and I wasn't smiling or grinning, but I wasn't down either. I just thought, well, wow, what was that?
And that was the same as every fan I interviewed outside the ground after that game. It was, laughing and joking and going, what an amazing game of football. And I was going, are you not bothered? Because I wasn't, but I didn't want to say that. And they were going, it was just brilliant to watch. I mean, we'll watch it back tonight when we go home and see what all that VAR thing was about. But what a brilliant game of football. And I'd much rather that happen and we see that type of football than change from what we do and what we love about City now under Pep Guardiola and go to this Juventus style. Let's be a bit cautious. Because I'll be honest with you, I am really not bothered about the Champions League one little bit. Do it just so fans can never, come back and say you've never won it. I'm not bothered if throughout the rest of my lifetime we never win it, as long as we just keep consistently winning the Premier League and domestic cup competitions. I've been more than happy with that. It doesn't bother me in the slightest. And incidentally, I just had an email from a publication that works with UEFA on a quarterly magazine, and they wanted us, Man City Fan TV, to get involved with them. That they're going to publish this quarterly magazine. So I just had to kindly reply back saying, I'm not sure the subscribers of the channel would be really impressed if Man City Fan TV got involved with UEFA. So thank you very much for your offer, but no, thank you. we don't want to contribute to UEFA's magazine, thank you. So I had to politely decline on that particular one. So anyway, so what we're going to end up.
Sorry, Andy. So I was going to say, with the other cup competitions, we're in it. We can win them, but they're one-off games. One thing I will say about City, and this is to do with the league as well as all the other competitions, is the Etihad is like what Anfield used to be, is like what Old Trafford used to be. I used to have butterflies in my stomach going there because the result could be 5-0. You could be getting a complete walloping, certainly against United. You never really wanted that. And I think most teams come to the Etihad now thinking, I hope we don't get battered. And I think that's so there's that fear thing now. So if we get a good run of home games in the cup competitions, then, we could go a long way.
And it gives the opportunity.
We'll do the treble again.
What's that?
I don't think we'll do the treble again. I don't think we'll do the treble again. It's been done once in history. To do it back to back.
Can you imagine? Well. That's got to put you up there as the greatest team. There's got to be. If we were to win back-to-back domestic trebles, I mean, it's unheard of. It's unheard. Yeah. We did it last season, but to do it back-to-back, my Lord, nobody could really judge us. And I don't care whether people say, but you've never won a European Cup, blah, blah, blah. I'm not interested. I'm really not. But anyway, listen, I want to say a massive thank you to Chris for coming on Man City Fan TV. I know that you can't make it on Sunday because you've got family ties and things like that you're doing. But listen, find a stream, listen to it on the radio, do whatever. But on Man City Fan TV, we'll be doing loads of recording outside the ground. So you'll be able to catch up with it later when you get back home. So listen, Chris, thank you.
I'm a bit gutted I'm not going, mate.
Yeah.
All right, lovely, mate. And everyone who's going, have a great day out. Stay away from any of those nasty scousers. And, hopefully we bring that shield back home again. Cheers, Andy. Thanks very much.
No problem. This is Andy from Man City Fan TV. This is sort of a Community Shield roundup and preview with Chris. And don't forget, if you're not a subscriber, click subscribe, hit that bell icon to be notified of all the videos that are coming up over the weekend surrounding the Community Shield down at Wembley. And yeah, comment below, give it a thumbs up, and we'll see you soon.